truth is rarely shown in the shadows, in the skies, in the questions we can't deny, beyond the realm of the known lie the mysteries of out there. Ghosts in the dark, footsteps in air, lights in the sky that stop and stare, whispers of things we're not alone, secrets buried, never shown. Tim and Joey take you there, through the truth or the scare, what's real and what's unaware. Welcome to Out There.
Woo! How you guys doing?
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Papa Joey.
How you doing there, Tim?
Good, man.
All right. Hey, Christine hopped on. Good to see her. And Sandy's on, and Mike was on. And we got a party going.
Yeah, we do.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
So what you been up to?
Oh, man, just loving life.
My sister's on. Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
So good to have you aboard.
Yeah, we got a lot of people joining on.
I like it.
Awesome, man. So, what you been up to, man?
Getting over a cold. I got a cold when I was in New York a month and a half ago.
A cold in July. That's awesome.
And it's taken forever for it to finally get a little bit better. So, yeah, feeling good now, though.
Yep.
All right, Pete. Welcome, man.
You did.
Good to see you. Tell you what, before we get too far into it, we do have a sponsor, and I need to play that before I forget.
Let's go to our sponsor.
So here's our sponsor.
Looking to live stream your next event? Festival, wedding, band performance, church service, or corporate event? RCJ Media has you covered. Please visit our website at www.rcjmediaco.com or email us at info@rcjproduction.com. RCJ Media, a division of RCJ Productions, has you covered.
Have to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I wish that one was a little longer, that applause. I don't know why that one's so short. This one's a little longer, but not much. Anyway. Oh. So, yeah, they've had me really busy this week. Good old RCJ Media.
Yeah, cool.
Now I'm busy in the morning.
You're not working anymore.
No, I've got a 7:30 in the morning podcast that I have to produce. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Lightning strikes. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to do our intro video, and you can do whatever you got to do there, Tim.
Let me do that. I'll be with you in a second.
All right. So, folks, here's what we got happening tonight.
History, mankind has described many things that cannot easily be explained. Strange lights in the heavens, voices carried upon empty winds, ghosts, spirits, creatures hidden in forests. Yet among all accounts of the unexplained, there is one phenomenon remarkably consistent across continents, religions, and centuries. A figure, blacker than darkness itself, not merely standing in shadow, but seemingly made of shadow. Witnesses often describe a human shape. Others report a figure wearing a long coat or a wide-brimmed hat. Some possess glowing red eyes. Others appear featureless. Nearly all share one common detail. They are seen only briefly, yet remembered for a lifetime. Historians have uncovered descriptions remarkably similar to today's shadow people, dating back thousands of years. Ancient Mesopotamians spoke of dark, wandering spirits. Medieval Europeans warned of night visitors. Native American traditions describe shadow beings that move silently between worlds. Modern psychology offers explanations involving sleep paralysis, peripheral vision, and neurological phenomena. Paranormal investigators suggest something altogether different. Interdimensional visitors, spiritual entities, or perhaps beings that have always existed just beyond the limits of human perception. On this episode of Out There, Uncle Tim and Papa Joey examine the evidence, listen to the witnesses, separate folklore from fact, and ask perhaps the most unsettling question of all. If so many people have seen them, what are they?
What could they be?
Yeah. I think we got an interesting topic tonight, man.
I think so too.
Not only do I have a lot of good stories about this thing, I'm hearing from people. We've been posting this for the last week on TikTok, doing our advertising, and people have been commenting on the fact that they have seen so many, and they know what shadow people are, and I'm amazed at how many people are commenting and giving me, yeah, I saw something. We're getting a lot of feedback, and so we know this is a big deal. So what we want you guys to do is, in your comments, if you've seen shadow people, please give us a short description of your stories, and let's see how many of you. Do we have a poll? No,
we do. So
all right.
You kind of beat me to even putting that up. So there's the poll.
All right, let's take a poll.
Have you ever seen what you believe was a shadow person? And I can say, yes, I have, on a couple of occasions. Anxious to hear what you guys say. And then if you have some, of course, you can't put a lot of comments other than a 1 or a 2 for a yes or a no, but yeah, in the comments, drop a little blurb about what you saw. That would be very cool.
Wow. All right, cool.
I dig it.
We picked a good topic.
I have to have my sister tell me what she's seen. She says yes.
Outstanding.
So I like it. So why do so many witnesses, though, report when they do see them that they're all reporting pretty much the same thing?
Exact same thing.
And when you think about it, you have all these different cultures across the world that haven't, in the earlier days that really didn't communicate.
We're separated by oceans.
Yeah. That all kind of report the same phenomena. And then Christine has seen a few, and I know this is Keith. Welcome, Keith. He's seen some of the same ones that I've seen. That was at the Gila County Jail.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Not the Gila County. I was at the Globe. Was that the one?
Yeah, that's one in Globe.
Yeah, Allison had a big experience in a jail cell when we locked her in there by herself.
Yeah, that's a crazy place.
And then at the YMCA as well in Globe, we got several shadow people crossing through our, what was that, green?
The grid.
The grid, yeah. We
In
saw
the pool area.
we saw a lot of shadow people in the grid in the pool area. Yeah. I think when you acknowledge them, they go away faster than when you don't. I think if you don't acknowledge them, they stick around and kind of play with you a little longer. So you could be right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They hang around, and then when you try to touch them or get close to them, then they disappear.
They disappear. And it's always out of the corner of your eye. You know, if you're like looking in a room, it's always right at your peripheral limit. Well, not always. I'm just saying, because of course, Allison's seen them right in front of her, like the hat guy. And we'll talk about the hat guy, I'm sure.
Yeah, that'll be coming up.
So
hey, Amy jumped on. Hey, Amy. Thanks.
Hi, Amy. But I think the majority of the people that I've spoken with and talked to have seen them like out of the corner of their eye, and they're like a figure, like when they look over and it's gone. I get a lot of those stories.
That seems to be the way they manifest.
But the ones that are head on and full on, they're very, very, I mean.
Well, that's what we witnessed at the jail. And then the other place that I witnessed it was at the hitching post when we did that investigation.
I saw him out the side of my eye. I didn't see him head on there.
There was one in the kitchen that kept poking its head around.
There was a cat that kept scaring him off.
I remember the cat.
I remember this cat running up this ladder, and I saw one out of the corner of my eye, and then the cat ran up the ladder and it just disappeared. I don't know how I remembered that all of a sudden.
Did I just hear a ghost?
No, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's funny stuff. So yeah, I mean, like I said, they're kind of all over the world. So I mean, in Egypt, they talk about the shoot. I think that's how you pronounce it, or the shut. It's S-H-U-T. But that's a shadow soul.
I think they pronounce it the shoot.
The shoot. Ancient Greece called it, and this sounds like a band, Shades of the Underworld.
Oh, yeah.
Be a great name for a band, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then in Rome, they have the Umbre. Sounds Spanish, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Medieval Europe, they had night spirits, dark monks, and black friars. And then, of course, Native American tradition. I mean, that runs through all the different tribes. You got Cherokee, Lakota, Navajo, Choctaw, but they all pretty much talk about the same kind of spirits that we saw in Knightley's video that we showed at the beginning, which I don't remember what we called them. I should have made a note of that. Japanese folklore, they have the kaji and the yokai. And then African traditions, very close to Native American, they have the spirit walkers. Australian Aborigines have Dreamtime shadow beings. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it does. Shadow beings instead of shadow people. Well,
so
okay.
Pete's aware of the umbre. They're nasty.
Yeah, they're devious, I believe.
So yeah, that was the question. I mean, how could separate civilizations throughout the world kind of all have identical beings, without it being something?
There are even hieroglyphs and petroglyphs about these little black figures with red eyes painted on walls, which scientists and archaeologists really have no idea what those are. So I have a quick story.
Let's hear it.
I have a couple of stories, but I'll do them real quick. Allison, we were down in Tombstone at right next to the Birdcage Theater, and it was a mortuary that was it's connected to the same building as a birdcage, and it was a mortuary back in the day where they would like put the coffins up and people would walk by and see the dead people. And it had this guy would present all the bodies and he would take them inside, and then they've turned it into like a little bar. So we were in there and Allison was doing a ghost tour inside the little establishment right next to it between Doc Holliday Saloon and the Birdcage. And Allison walked in and she saw this tall cowboy with a black hat and a black long coat. It was just a dark figure with a hat and everything. And she started talking to it, and it got closer and closer to her. And she wasn't afraid of it because, we've been on many adventures together. And this is when she was indoctrinated into it. And she was like, I'm ready for it. She took on anything. So she confronted this black entity with a cowboy hat, and it spoke to her and communicated with her, and then eventually just walked out the door. And so that's an example of communicating and interacting with a shadow person, which normally that doesn't happen. The other one I want to tell you about real quick is after my son Jordan died. Morgan was in her room, and a shadow person came in and stood at the end of her bed and stayed there for a little bit. And she says, Jordan, is that you? And it didn't leave immediately, and it stayed there, and it kind of went back and forth. And she kind of had a good conversation with it, and then it just faded off away. So I don't know how they appear, why they appear, but I think that spirits and souls can interact with you in different forms, in different ways. And Morgan, to the bottom of her heart, honestly believes that was Jordan standing at the end of her bed. And that was pretty interesting. And here I go again.
That's probably Jordan.
Yeah. Every time I talk about one of my kids or something, we have electronic difficulties.
Wow. So I remember you telling me about, Morgan's story with that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we've been at the Birdcage. My experience at the Birdcage is I was way too tired. I fell asleep.
I had a lot of experiences at the Birdcage. Yeah, something grabbed my leg under the hearse. We were standing right by the hearse.
Yeah. And
something came out and grabbed my ankle, and I got the heck out of there. And I'm pretty this is before I became a ghost hunter. This is way, 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 way back. But I remember that. Why are we having these problems? I don't get it.
Well, I'm going to show the first one. Oh, you got a thunderstorm going on. Or do you have a thunderstorm going on? Oh, he's going to get kicked off. That's a shame. Love having you, Pete. Anytime you can join.
Anytime, please, Pete.
Yeah. So I'll throw up another. This is a story on our first shadow person. So
okay.
This is very, very similar to what you may have experienced. And this is the, I'll let it just speak for itself. What do you say?
Yes.
This happened over 15 years ago, and I can still picture it as clearly as if it happened yesterday. It wasn't an old house. It wasn't supposed to be haunted. It was just home. I woke up sometime during the night for no particular reason. The room was lit just enough by the moon coming through the curtains that I could make out the furniture. That's when I noticed someone standing in the corner of the bedroom. My first thought was that it was my husband. I actually remember being annoyed. I thought maybe he'd gotten up and was just standing there for some strange reason. So I said his name. No answer. Then I looked toward the bed, and he was asleep right beside me. Every hair on my body stood up. I looked back toward the corner. The figure hadn't moved. It was completely black. No face, no eyes, no clothing that I could make out. Just the outline of a person. Then something happened that I still can't explain. It started getting taller. Not by taking a step, not by standing on anything. It simply stretched upward, like a shadow being pulled toward the ceiling. Its head rose higher and higher until it almost touched the ceiling. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I just watched. Then it began to fade. Not disappear all at once. It simply became less visible, until the corner was empty again. I turned every light on in the house. I searched every room. Nothing. My husband never woke up. He slept through the whole thing. For years, I convinced myself I'd dreamed it, but I wasn't asleep when it happened. Years later, I found stories online from people describing almost the exact same thing. A dark figure, standing silently in the corner, growing impossibly tall before simply vanishing. Reading those accounts didn't make me feel better. It only made me wonder, how many other people have seen the very same thing?
We'll back that one up. So that's probably one of the most common ones, is just a shadow in the corner and happens during the witching hour, if you will.
Right.
And then if I don't think you ever met Julia Lacafo, but she was on our second podcast we did on the Truth About Beer, and she was telling a story about she was babysitting, and this kind of explains or describes what she saw, except it was outside and it just kept getting bigger, like it just kept stretching, and then it was gone.
There's a lot of reports of them stretching and what's the word I want to use? Like
Just expanding.
Deforming. They move in and out and up and down.
Hey, welcome, Dirk.
Hey, Dirk, buddy, how are you? Glad to have you on, man. Dirk and I have a bunch of good stories. Woo!
Love to hear
One of
them.
the scariest times of my life was with Dirk. Oh my Lord. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. So if you ever had an experience with that kind of a shadow person, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, Dirk, let me know if you've had seen shadow people. I know what we've seen together, and it scared the bejesus out of me. I think I peed a little twice. But
well, we're here, and then it's people of all walks of life that experience this stuff. So the next one I've got happens to be from a police officer encounter.
Okay, I'm getting
why don't do you want to go to
let me go to
your
different
webcam?
camera.
Yeah.
Because
Switch over to your
this only happens when
your
we talk
iMac.
about paranormal stuff. On our normal shows, this doesn't happen.
It does
Give
happen.
me a second.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and play this one.
People have seen the very same thing.
I'd been on the force for almost 12 years. I'd worked nights most of that time. You learn pretty quickly that 99% of the things people call paranormal usually have a perfectly ordinary explanation. Kids sneaking around, homeless people looking for shelter, animals getting into abandoned buildings. That's what I expected this night. Dispatch received multiple calls about movement inside an old warehouse that had been vacant for years. We figured it was trespassers. I arrived first. The building was enormous. Empty parking lot, no vehicles, no lights. I announced myself before going inside. Police department? Nothing. Just the sound of my own footsteps echoing through the building. I made my way toward the center of the warehouse when I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. About 50 feet away, a person walked across an open doorway. I didn't think twice. I called out, "Police, stop right there!" No response. I moved quickly toward the doorway. I expected whoever it was to be just around the corner. They weren't. The hallway beyond was completely empty. I searched every adjoining room, every storage area, every exit. Nothing. That's when it started bothering me. There wasn't enough time for anyone to get away. The only doors were the ones I'd already checked. The windows were boarded shut. There were no sounds, no footsteps, no voices. Just silence. I went back to the doorway where I'd seen the figure. Standing there, I realized something I hadn't noticed before. The person hadn't reflected any light. It wasn't like someone wearing black clothing. It was completely black, like looking at a hole cut out of reality. I never wrote that part in my report. Try explaining that to your sergeant. Officially, we searched the building and found no one inside. That's the truth. But it's not the whole truth. I know what I saw walk across that doorway. It wasn't my imagination. I just can't explain where it went.
There. I had to mute you, Tim. Sorry.
About that.
You're moving around a lot and it was making lots of noise, so I had to mute you. But you're live again.
I'm live again, but
Yeah.
lost the camera. Not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah. So you look like you're in a nice beam of light right now. You're
I'm
glowing.
being abducted right now. There we go.
There, I should do you. So that's the thing about, like first responders and police officers and those that, they witness a lot of stuff that they never report because they don't want to be labeled as being nuts.
Well, it puts their job in jeopardy. It's like my son-in-law Todd. He was a sheriff's deputy, and then he worked for the FBI. But he was a crime scene investigator, and he would go out to these horrible car wrecks or these horrible where people would do suicides or shoot everybody in the house and everything. And he said he would see these black shadows just all around the room or at the car wreck, just lift up out of the car and just go up into the air. And he never had any explanation for that.
Wow.
So souls leaving their bodies. I thought they were like whitish, the ones I've seen, but
yeah,
could have been other souls coming in and taking them away.
I've heard stories of this type of shadow person. It's usually the ones that happen out of the corner of your eyes. You see something move into another room out of the corner of your eye, and then
you look and it's not there, and you just think it's your imagination.
But you're there on your arm standing up, and you're feeling very uneasy. So there's
who hasn't
kind
seen
of energy
that
going there
growing up? Who as a child has not thought they saw something out of the corner of their eye in their room? Who hasn't had that experience?
Yeah.
And then you go to your mom, like, I saw something in my room. And they're like, oh, it's just your imagination. There's no such thing as imagination. Everything is there.
Kids are amazing.
And they see them more than adults.
Yeah, they do. I think we have one of those stories. I think it's the last story coming up, or that we'll play. But here's one. And that these individuals or these professionals witness a lot of stuff. And that is people in the hospital.
I was a hospice nurse for nearly 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
During that time, I cared for hundreds of patients. You see a lot in that line of work. Some things are heartbreaking. Some are beautiful. And then there are the things you simply stop trying to explain. This happened during an overnight shift. It was just after 2 a.m. The hallway was quiet. Most of the patients were asleep. I had just finished checking on one of my patients when I looked down the corridor. At the far end, someone was standing there. I assumed it was a family member. They were tall, completely still, dressed in what looked like a long, dark coat. I couldn't make out a face. The lighting was dim, so I started walking toward them. They never moved. They simply stood there. When I was about halfway down the hallway, they turned, walked into one of the patient rooms without making a sound. I followed immediately. The room was empty. There was nowhere to hide, no bathroom, no second door, just my patient, peacefully sleeping. About 20 minutes later, that patient passed away, peacefully, without pain. I told myself it was a coincidence. That's what made the most sense. But over the years, I saw something similar more than once. Always at night. Always standing silently in the hallway or just inside a patient's room. And more often than not, someone would pass away not long afterward. I don't know what I saw. I won't call it an angel. I won't call it a ghost. And I certainly won't claim it was something supernatural. I can only tell you what I experienced. Whatever it was, it never seemed threatening. It simply appeared, waited, and then was gone.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but there's lots of stories of like that.
Yeah. And I can't imagine can you imagine World War I and II and all of the conflicts where, at night they're standing guard and they see things and they shoot at it. I mean, they're like, dude, what are you shooting at? There's nothing there. I mean, that happens so many times. The stories are incredible. Yeah. You're shooting at shadows. That's what they used to say.
Good night, Amy. She had to go. But always happy she could join us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it a coincidence that happens again and again?
No, it's not a coincidence. I mean, we just took our poll. What was our poll? 100%? Yeah.
Oh, let's get back to the poll. Put it up for a second.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has said no. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how
that
many.
really doesn't tell us how many people
4
did
votes.
that, but
There's only 4 votes.
oh well.
I can see it on this end, but it doesn't show it on that.
But like I said, up to advertising the show for the last 2 weeks,
Can't believe that.
we've gotten lots of comments on people saying, you got your negative comments saying, oh, those are demonic or whatever. Well, right. So you're admitting they exist. Whether they're demonic or good or bad or whatever, they're there. You know what I'm saying?
Are they doing something evil?
Yeah.
That would be the
what's
question.
Their intention? What's the
just their presence being there? Is that evil?
And they can't hurt you. I've never heard a story of a shadow person doing any harm. They either comfort or they scare you, which in Morgan's case, they comforted, which in my case, they scared the crap out of me. So you can't really put a label on it. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And then
it's a word that's got a bad rap.
Yeah. And you can't really think of it as an angel because you think of angel as a white, glowing yellow, fog or whatever. But we don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, in front of Morgan's bed, as far as she knew, that was Jordan's angel. And she wasn't scared at all. So,
yeah, some can be comforting. I mean, you never know.
And she walked in our room and said, Jordan came and visited me. He stood at the end of my bed. I couldn't see his face. It was a dark shadow, dark figure, but I knew it was him because I talked to him and he stayed there. So, I don't know.
Well, here's another type. And this one's from a military person. I think. How come it's not going? There we go.
I served just over 20 years. Most of that time was spent overseas. Military training teaches you to observe first and draw conclusions later. Rumors don't last very long in that environment. You learn to separate what you think you saw from what you can actually prove. This happened during a deployment. I was assigned overnight perimeter watch. It was just after midnight. No moon. Hardly any wind. The kind of silence you only experience in the middle of nowhere. I was scanning the perimeter with my night vision when I noticed movement along a distant ridgeline. My first thought was, someone's out there. I lowered the goggles and looked with my own eyes. There it was, a person-shaped silhouette, completely black against an already black landscape. It wasn't running. It wasn't hiding. It was simply standing there. I radioed my partner. I've got movement at my 12 o'clock. He looked in the same direction. He couldn't see anything. I raised my binoculars again. The figure hadn't moved an inch. It almost looked like it was watching me. I picked up my flashlight and swept the beam across the ridge. Nothing. The light passed over the exact spot where it had been standing. There was no person. No rocks shaped like a person. Nothing at all. I figured maybe my eyes had played tricks on me. Long hours. Fatigue. It happens. But then something bothered me. When I lowered the flashlight, it was back. Same place. Same posture. Completely motionless. I never took my eyes off it. Then, without taking a step, without turning, it simply faded into the darkness. Not walked away, not disappeared behind a hill. It was simply gone. The next morning we searched that ridgeline. There were no footprints, no signs of anyone being there. I still don't know what I saw. I'm not saying it was supernatural. I'm not saying it was anything paranormal. All I know is I've spent my life observing the world around me, and that night I observed something I still can't explain.
So, when you're in that kind of a situation where you're doing surveillance or whatever, a lot of those guys don't get a lot of sleep. So could it be from sleep deprivation?
Yeah.
Hypervigilance?
Hallucination.
Because you're overstimulated, I guess that would be the hypervigilance.
Or
something else.
shadow people.
Or could it be Bigfoot? Just standing in the shadows.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
It's possible. All right. So here's our probably the most popular one. I don't know if it's the most seen one, but it's one that seems to creep people out the most. Let's see if it'll play.
I've told this story maybe 3 times in my life, and every single time people look at me like I'm crazy. I don't blame them. If someone had told me this happened to them before it happened to me, I probably wouldn't have believed it either. It was somewhere around 3 in the morning. I remember because I looked at the clock when I woke up, 3:07. Nothing had made a sound. There wasn't a crash or a bump. I just woke up. You know that feeling when you suddenly become aware that someone else is in the room? That's exactly what it felt like. At first, I thought it was my husband standing near the bedroom door. The room was dark, so all I could see was the outline of a person. Then I realized he wasn't in bed beside me. That's when I started looking harder. The figure wasn't moving. It was just standing there, completely black. Not like someone standing in the shadows. It looked as though the darkness itself had taken the shape of a person. As my eyes adjusted, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. It was wearing what looked like a long coat and a hat. A wide-brimmed hat, almost like an old-fashioned fedora. I couldn't see a face. There wasn't one. Just blackness. I wanted to yell. I wanted to move. I couldn't do either. Every instinct I had was screaming that I was looking at something that didn't belong there. Then I noticed the eyes. Not bright, just two faint red points watching me. I can't tell you how long we stared at each other. Maybe 10 seconds, maybe a minute. It felt like forever. Then, without taking a single step, it simply became less solid, like smoke disappearing into smoke. 1 second it was standing there. The next, there was nothing. The room was empty. I jumped out of bed and turned every light on in the house, checked every door, every window. There was no sign anyone had been inside. For years I never mentioned it. Then one day I came across an article online describing something called the Hat Man. People from different countries, different ages, different backgrounds were describing almost exactly what I'd seen. The long coat, the hat, the overwhelming feeling of dread. That's the part that still bothers me. Not that I saw something, but that so many other people describe seeing the very same thing. I still don't know what I experienced. And honestly, I'm not sure I want to.
Yeah, the red eyes, man. That's the thing that gets me about most of these stories is they see black figures and shapes and everything. But I mean, you can go from Skinwalker Ranch to, I mean, watch all these kids on YouTube doing their own like ghost investigations out in these haunted houses and fields and stuff. But the thing that happens the most is the two red eyes.
Yeah. See, I think that's very interesting.
Yeah. So we don't know if they're coming or going or coming to take a soul away, or after somebody passes, they're like leaving and saying goodbye. It's like, who knows what these things are, but there's so many reports of red eyes, even without shadow people. There's people that have seen stuff in the forest and just two red eyes pop up and nothing else.
Is that a Davis or a Divas? Or
Divas can only appear in shadows. Devils can only appear as shadows. Are you saying devils?
No, it's probably a term they use, a voodoo term, is my guess. Davis or Divas. And this is always interesting to me because he would know. And if we ever do another Bigfoot episode, Pete, you got to join us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't know too many diva.
Do you know, I think Texas has the most Bigfoot sightings in any other state. Diva. It's a Hindu thing. All right. Yeah. I get that.
I may have even read that earlier when I was going through the different cultures. But yeah, I think the thing seems to be the common thing with the Hat Man is he's kind of a voyeur.
Yeah, he's never really
He just
there's no
watches.
reports of him doing any kind of damage or physical harm, but it's probably the most reported sighting. I mean, more than ghosts. I mean, it's the Hat Man.
But he brings with that sighting of a feeling of dread that people feel. So is it a prerequisite to something that's going to happen? Is he a harbinger of bad news, or
what do you call the Grim Reaper?
Angel of Death, or
so
maybe
is he a messenger or a guide to take people in and out of the
guide?
Take people, escort people in and out of this dimension to the next dimension.
That's what I would say.
Perverted.
Hello, Robert.
All right, that's funny.
I didn't bring it up.
Interdimensional pervert peeping Tom. I like that. That's the best.
That's the Hat Man.
That's the funniest one we had so far. That's pretty cool. Never thought about that. It could happen.
Yeah, but I think for me, I haven't seen the Hat Man myself. You know, I mean, out of the shadow figures that I've witnessed, and it would probably freak me out if I actually saw that definitive of a silhouette. You know, I think it would freak me out.
Yeah. So I told you, my neighbors, across the street, Mexican family, they have these big celebrations. And when he found out I was a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, he goes, "You've got to come see this guy in our backyard," because every time they have a big celebration, they cook a pig and they go out in their backyard, this big man, this cowboy in a black hat and a black coat shows up in their backyard.
The dude lives across the street from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And twice they've had to cancel the parties because all the women ran out and all the men stayed, but the women wouldn't come back in. So they just called it a night. So he's shown up at these parties several times in their backyard.
That's what I thought, Sandy. I figured you were talking about the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, Grim Reaper.
He steals souls.
And they swear it happens. And he says, next time we have a party, you're more than welcome to come over here and stand in their yard. He will show up, because they said he shows up at all their big events. They have the event where the girl turns 15. They have the events. They have a lot of Mexican celebrations. Yeah. And they party in his backyard. But twice, everybody has left because of this big cowboy with a black hat that has shown up in their backyard, and it's run everybody out of the party.
He's shown up in the garage.
Yes, he has. I
witnessed that when I was over there, and we were running the spirit box.
Yes, and the IR, and
and in the spirit box, you know, because it's circulating the radio stations and all that, and we were getting Spanish
music
crossed,
which I've never heard on a ghost box before.
Yeah, and
you got to. So this is a guy next door. This is a guy right next door.
Oh, not across the street.
But it happens to both of these houses. Okay. And I've got, if you go to our TikTok or go to our Facebook and scroll down, where you see the entities in the garage. It's called David's Garage. We've done a story on it. But this big old cowboy with a big old black hat, they call him Johnny Cash. Because it's this big man in black, but he has a hat on. And twice, everybody in that party has left the party because he's shown up in their backyard.
Wow.
Nothing about red eyes, just a big black figure.
Just a big dude.
Just a big dude that came in and ran everybody out of the party. And those Mexicans, listen, Mexican people are afraid of ghosts. So are black. Some African American black people are afraid of ghosts. I've never met any African American ghost hunters.
Well, there's the Ghost Brothers.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
But a lot of most of the people and the friends I have around here, they're like, oh hell no. They're gone. They're gone. They have no tolerance for any ghost or anything.
Hey, well, I put the poll back up again. So if you haven't participated in our poll yet, sure to jump in. So have you ever seen what you believe was a shadow person?
Mothman.
1 for yes, 2 for no.
Yes, they have red eyes. And also the werewolves, Mothman, and the Chupacabra. They have red eyes. A lot of these entities in history have red eyes, but the shadow people with the red eyes are completely different. There are some big, like Bigfoot, like hairy, or not hairy, but big, like monsters that have red eyes.
So I've probably told this story before. Well, I know I have, but I don't know if I've told it on out there. But we were investigating at the Adobe Deli in Deming, New Mexico, which is a really cool place, and got some really cool evidence there. But I was on my own walking down the hallway to there's a cigar shop or a cigar lounge at the other end of the place, and you have to walk down this corridor. It was pitch black, and I just step out in the corridor and I look down and I see 2 red glowing eyes. I believed staring right back at me, and I almost panicked, but then I got brave and I got a little closer, and there was a foosball table in the middle of the floor, and it was reflecting off of the exit sign, which happened to be red. So almost saw the 2 red eyes, but it was an exit sign. So.
I don't think out of all the investigations we've been on, I don't think I've ever seen you or you've ever seen me like afraid. The only time we got afraid is when we were in that city where the mental hospital, up in outside of Tucson, south of Tucson.
In Oracle,
and we saw scorpions.
Yeah, that was
that's the most afraid I think I've ever seen you or me.
Of the scorpions.
The scorpions.
Well, we had a few jump scares while we were in the back map room.
Yeah, in the map room. Yes. Yeah, when the chair went flying across the room and they knocked the box out of my hand or off the ledge.
They didn't enjoy you looking at those maps.
It wasn't like fear, but it was like entertaining. I mean,
it was entertaining.
It was really scary. It was just, wow, that was cool.
Wow. I'm going to play this last one because this happens to be a child's report. And, you know, I know I saw things as a kid.
Yeah, we all did.
So
every child saw them.
He was only 4 years old. At that age, his biggest worries were cartoons, toy trucks, and whether he could stay up past bedtime. He wasn't the kind of child who scared easily. He had a great imagination. But this felt different. It started with little things. He'd ask us to leave the hallway light on. He said he didn't like it when the room got too dark. We thought it was just a phase. Lots of kids are afraid of the dark. Then one night, he came running into our bedroom. He was crying, really crying. The kind of crying that tells you something has genuinely frightened them. I asked him what was wrong. He said, "The black man is in my room again." My heart sank. I figured maybe he'd had a nightmare, so I walked him back to his room. I checked under the bed. I looked in the closet, behind the curtains. Nothing. I tucked him back into bed.
That's when he pointed toward the corner of the room. "He's standing right there." There was nothing there. At least, nothing I could see. This went on for several weeks. Always the same corner. Always at bedtime. Always the same description. A tall, black, silent person. The strange part was, he never described a monster. Never horns, never claws, never anything from a movie or cartoon. Just the black man. Then one morning at breakfast, completely out of nowhere, he went away. I asked him who went away. The man in the corner. He never mentioned him again. Years passed. We never really talked about it. Then one evening, after he'd graduated college, we somehow got onto the subject of ghost stories. I asked him if he remembered being afraid of his room when he was little. He looked at me, and without missing a beat, said, "You mean the Shadow Man?" He described exactly what he'd seen as a child. A tall, completely black, silent figure standing in the same corner. He hadn't thought about it in years. Neither had I. I still don't know what he experienced. Maybe it was childhood imagination. Maybe it was a vivid dream. Or maybe children sometimes notice things that the rest of us simply overlook.
Absolutely. Oh, to have a child's eyes again, and an innocence of what they see, or
Absolutely,
their beliefs of
100%.
what they're seeing, their perception and all that.
I did it when I was a kid. I saw stuff in my room.
I used to see a figure that used to shuffle down the hallway past my room, because I'd have the door open, and I'd hear the shuffling feet, kind of a,
Pitter patter.
It wasn't so much pitter patter. It was like they weren't picking up their feet; they were just shuffling, and then I'd see it go past, and of course I would be hiding under the covers and be peeking out from underneath the covers as it went past. But that happened a lot. It wasn't just a one-off,
Yeah.
Kind of nuts. I don't know what that was, but
I was driving one time and saw somebody in my rearview mirror in the back seat. I turned around,
now
and
that
it
would freak me out.
wasn't there. And I'm like, I mean, you just pass it off as you just deny it.
It's like it didn't really happen. It's just
That didn't happen.
a trick. Yeah, trick of the.
But it did. But it didn't. But it did. But it didn't. So you just let it go. But many people have that experience. So I think that's why we picked this topic, is because this happens so much. And I mean, nobody talks about it, and it's not really identifiable. It's not like you can just come out and have a conversation about shadow people. Shadow people are kind of like that thing you go, yeah, tongue in cheek, and just you let it go, because there's no way to prove it. There's no way to, and if you tell your story, most people are going to think you're just loading your bats or crazy or whatever. But I can guarantee you, man, 90% of the population have a shadow person story.
Yeah, I think so.
They do.
The poll that we've got going right now is only live while we're live. Unfortunately, I wish it carried on afterwards, because if you're watching this later, you'll have to let us know in the comments if you've witnessed a shadow person.
I think it's pretty cool that we haven't had our no.
Yeah, I know. This has been 100%. You know? So
that's just fascinating. But
so much fun.
But thank you guys for joining us and talking about this topic. And if there's other topics you guys want to investigate or talk about, or please let us know, and we'll do our best to pull up your topic and make a show on it.
Absolutely. We have some fun ideas coming up for the future. Maybe trying to do a live call-in show once a month.
Yeah, we'd like to do the
Stories.
third Wednesday of every month and do a call-in show where we'll just do a paranormal call-in where you guys call in and just tell us your stories. And we would love to hear from you guys. So we're in the process of setting up that technology to where you guys can just click on a link, call in, and we'd love to hear all your stories. And we're looking forward to that. I think Joey and I would love to hear from you guys.
We're all about hearing things that are
Out there.
Nice.
Isn't that sweet? Wow. Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Let's see.
Thank you guys so much.
Comments. Oh, my sister had a comment. You told me some crazy stories, sis. I don't remember the lady sliding down the wall, but I heard some really crazy stories when you had the antique shop. Well, not antique shop. It was a craft store that she used to have with a co-op of women, and this store was built back in the 1800s. They were occupying. It was an old house and stuff, and it definitely had some cool things happen in there. Maybe that's where I got my interest in all this
Paranormal, yeah.
Sister, I don't know, but oh, love it.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. We've had a great time. This is a great topic, and we appreciate all your feedback, and we can't wait to see you guys again. And be sure and subscribe and share, and Joey will tell you all about that. But that's been a great show, and we really appreciate all of you joining in.
We sure do. And stay tuned. In another hour, coming up is One Sin Away from God, another podcast that we do at RCJ Media, and Keith will be hosting that, him and Lindsay. So look for that coming up at 7:00 Arizona time, or Pacific. Of course, later it'd be 9, right? 9 Central and 10 Eastern, but a very good show. So stick around for that.
All right. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Until then, till next time, that's Papa Joey.
And that's Uncle Tim. Love you guys.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Drop us a comment and tell us what out there topics you want us to explore next.
Beyond the